Welcome to Birds Aren't Real, the only place on the internet where we explore the conspiracy theories that are too strange to be fake and too dumb to be real. Today, we're hitting rock history's conspiracy power chord. From CIA-manufactured power ballads to dead rock gods who maybe just moved to Oregon, this list has it all. Smash the like button if you've ever played a Sabbath song backwards while straight and lived to tell the tale. Hit subscribe for more sinister grooves from the shadowy corners of pop culture. Now let's rock and/or roll through the doors of perception. Jim Morrison, Lizard King. Jim Morrison, Lizard King, psychedelic poet, leather pants wearer, died in a Paris bathtub in 1971, allegedly. Officially, he OD'd on heroin in his apartment with girlfriend Pamela Corson, who freaked out, told police he had a heart attack and had him buried without an autopsy. Just casually waved that whole figure out how he died thing. But conspiracy fans say, hold my mescaline. Here are 4 Morrison theories. Theory A, he actually died in the bathroom of a Paris nightclub and was smuggled home by 2 drug dealers like a really heavy coat. Cool, but ultimately, who cares? Still dead. Theory B, he faked his death to escape the spotlight and resurface in Oregon as a ranch-owning guy named Bill Lawyer. Morrison's former bandmate Ray Manzarek said this was the most likely, and some dude named Gerald Pitts claimed to be Morrison's new agent. The photos show a passing resemblance. Maybe, but probably not. Let's face it. Theory C. He was assassinated by the CIA, the French Secret Service, or even the Zionists, because conspiracy bingo isn't complete without them, because he was a threat to the system. Theory D, the best one and the opposite of the last one. Jim Morrison wasn't a threat to the system. He was the system, as in a CIA plant meant to derail the anti-war movement by promoting drugs, poetry, and by getting his knob out. Why? His dad was a US Navy admiral in the Gulf of Tonkin, which is a real fact, but not really what you'd call evidence. Paul is dead and also barefoot. This one refuses to die, which is ironic. Rumor has it that in 1966, Paul McCartney died in a car crash and was replaced by a lookalike, who also happened to play all the instruments, sound the same, and was real good at songwriting. The proof? He's barefoot on the Abbey Road cover. There's a license plate that says 28IF, meaning he would have been 28 if he hadn't died. Except he would have been 27. Allegedly playing I'm So Tired backwards reveals Paul is dead man, miss him, miss him, miss him. Here it is. This was all started by a student newspaper in Iowa, which was ridiculous at the time, but somehow still clings on. A much less spoken bonus theory from the Sgt. Pepper cover. On it, Hindu goddess Mahamaya, the illusion queen herself, is pointing at Paul twice, obviously proving he's not real. That was much less spoken about, cause I just made it up. John Lennon was killed by Stephen King. Yep, buckle in. In 1980, John Lennon was shot by Mark David Chapman. But one man, Stephen Lightfoot, believes Chapman was just a cover. The real killer? Stephen King, horror author, Maine resident, and noted guy who looks a bit like Chapman if you squint. The theory: King was hired by Nixon and Reagan.
So we can all drink to this one.
Because Lennon was too anti-war. Never mind that they had access to trained assassins. Lightfoot even claims coded messages.
And in back issues of Time and Newsweek, issues surrounding the night of John Lennon's murder.
Because conspirers always apparently like to expose themselves in national publications. King's 1999 car accident, supposedly a government hit gone wrong. Lightfoot's been driving around the US in a van plastered with this theory for nearly 40 years. This is the assassination equivalent of
one of those guys with saliva dribbling out of his mouth who wanders into a cafeteria with a shopping bag screaming about socialism.
Satanic rock and the devil's chords. Time to backmask our way into the satanic panic. In the 1980s, American evangelicals decided that rock music was a front for Satan himself. The claim? Bands like Judas Priest and Ozzy Osbourne were hiding subliminal messages encouraging suicide, drug use, and demon summoning in their tracks. Judas Priest was even dragged to court after 2 fans shot themselves, allegedly after listening to backmasked messages like "Do It" and "Let's Be Dead" on their track "Better By You, Better Than Me." The band argued, "Why would we tell our fans to die? That's bad for sales." Ozzy got sued too. His song, Suicide Solution, was blamed for a teen's death, despite being a warning against alcoholism. And then there's the infamous Devil's Tritone, or Diabolus in Musica, a dissonant interval said to provoke evil. Black Sabbath used it, Slayer named an album after it, and the Vatican allegedly hated it, though they didn't actually ban it, as some say. Of course, it was mostly a panic-driven media circus. In truth, if Satan is involved in the music business, he unquestionably takes the form of Simon Cowell. The CIA wrote Wind of Change. Here's the greatest soft rock twist of all time. In 1990, German band The Scorpions released Wind of Change, a power ballad that basically soundtracked the fall of the Berlin Wall. Officially written by singer Klaus Meine after a Moscow boat ride during Perestroika. Unofficially written by the CIA as propaganda. According to a 2020 podcast with ex-agents and a bunch of sketchy nods. Wind of Change was, allegedly, an American psyop to help take down the Soviet Union using the power of hair metal. Sounds ridiculous? You might think that, but through the late 20th century, the CIA did fund abstract art tours, jazz musicians, literary programs, and probably at least 3 indie bands you liked in college. That 2020 podcast doesn't name names, but agents do admit they were involved with high-level music celebrities. So why not soft metal? Maney denies it, of course, but once an agent, always an agent. As some other rockers once wrote, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And that's your dose of rock and roll ridiculousness for today. Let me know in the comments, which theory do you believe? Who really wrote Wind of Change? And where the hell are Paul's shoes? Smash like, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next descent into weird. Until next time, stay loud, and remember, Elvis lives and Courtney killed Kurt. Allegedly.